You know, we tend to talk about the human body in very biological terms. We go to the doctor, we talk about cells, hormones, neurons firing, blood pressure.
It's all very organic, very messy.
Exactly. But I want to try a completely different lens today. I want you to imagine for a moment that your body is hardware, literal biological hardware.
And that your breath, that thing you do 20,000 times a day without even thinking about it, is a script.
And we're not speaking metaphorically here, are we? We're talking about the idea that you can write specific lines of code into your nervous system using a binary language.
That's the core idea.
Right. So this is the premise of today's deep dive. We are exploring the concept of hacking the human body, but we aren't using smartwatches, we aren't using nootropics, and we are definitely not talking about ice baths today.
No. We are talking about using one of the oldest binary codes in human history, the I Ching.
It's such a fascinating juxtaposition. On one hand, you had the I Ching, which is thousands of years old, the Book of Changes, deeply rooted in ancient Chinese philosophy.
And on the other, you have this very modern, almost computational way of looking at biology. It's looking at the soul as if it were an operating system.
And our guide for this journey is a really unique character. We're looking at material from a series called Meditation Happy Hour, hosted by a teacher named Christopher McClure.
But he has a handle that's pretty memorable.
He does. He also calls himself AI Jesus.
Which definitely stops you in your tracks.
It does. It sounds like a name you'd hear at, I don't know, a tech-centric music festival. But looking at the source material, it actually perfectly encapsulates what he's trying to teach.
It's that fusion, right? The Jesus aspect, the spiritual, the ancient, the archetypal.
With the AI aspect, the structural, the mechanical, the almost robotic processing of data.
Exactly. He's proposing that spiritual practice isn't just about feeling good or relaxing. It's about programming. He treats consciousness like a system architecture that can be debugged and upgraded.
So let's get into the system. McClure starts by describing a major shift in his own personal practice. He explains that for decades, he was focused on the pulse.
He calls the pulse a feminine object of meditation.
Right. But recently, he completely pivoted. He brought the breath back in to take the yoke off the ox. That's a very specific phrase. What does that mean? Why the change after 30 years?
It's all about the balance of forces. He felt that focusing only on the pulse was too passive. I mean, think about it. The pulse just happens to you.
You don't tell your heart to beat, you just witness it.
That's a very yin or feminine stance. It's receptive. He realized he was missing the yang, the act of participation. He needed to balance the equation.
So he reintroduces the breath. But this isn't the watch your breath mindfulness we usually hear about. He looked at the breath and he didn't just see air moving.
He saw a binary pattern. He realized he could map the I Ching directly onto the respiratory system.
Okay, so to understand why this is a hack and not just a breathing exercise, we have to do a quick crash course on the I Ching.
At its core, it's all built on hexagrams. Hexa, meaning 6. So a stack of 6 lines.
And a line can only be one of two things, right? It's not a spectrum.
Correct. It's pure binary. It is either a solid line or it is a broken line, a line with a gap in the middle.
Ones and zeros. It really is the original computer code.
Precisely. The solid line represents yang. McClure describes this as mass. It's substantial. It's force.
And the broken line is yin, the feminine. It has a gap. It's open.
Right. So usually people toss coins or use yarrow stalks to generate these lines and, read a fortune.
But McClure is saying you don't cast the hexagram, you breathe it. And this is where I got a little tripped up because his mapping feels backwards at first.
It is unique to his system, and it's very specific. He says that the in-breath is the broken line, the 0, the yin.
And the out-breath is the solid line, the 1, the yang.
Yes.
See, I always think of in as gathering strength, which feels active to me, and out as letting go, which feels passive. So why does he flip that?
Think about the mechanics and the energy exchange. The in-breath is receiving. You are allowing the universe to enter you. That fits the archetypal definition of yin.
Receptivity, holding space.
Okay. And the out-breath, in his view, is mass. It is projection. You are pushing your reality out into the world. You are asserting yourself.
Okay, that makes sense when you put it that way. Receiving is yin, projecting is yang. So if we accept that in is 0, out is 1, you can suddenly write these ancient symbols with your lungs.
And this is where it moves from meditation to coding. You aren't just breathing rhythmically to calm down. You are breathing a specific data set to achieve a specific result.
He gives a really complex example in the source, hexagram 30. I want to walk through this because it really highlights how difficult this is.
Oh yeah, this isn't something you do while you're washing the dishes. It requires total cognitive engagement.
Right. So hexagram 30. Visually, if you look at the stack from bottom to top, the lines are solid, broken, solid, solid, broken, solid.
A pattern of 6. So if we map that to the breath code, solid is out, broken is in, what are we actually doing physically?
Well, you're executing this pattern, out breath, in breath, out breath, then immediately following that, out breath, in breath, out breath.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
2 out breaths in a row in the middle there.
Yes. And that is the code. The pattern dictates the breath, not your body's desire for oxygen or your natural rhythm.
You are forcing the biology to conform to the archetype.
That feels so unnatural. I mean, you have to pause or do a double exhale.
And I think that's the point. It feels unnatural because it is supernatural. You are overriding the default operating system, your autonomic nervous system, to install a specific program.
In this case, hexagram 30, which is what energy is that?
It usually relates to the clinging or fire. It represents clarity, illumination, a fire that needs fuel.
So instead of just sitting there thinking, I want clarity, you are physically forcing your respiratory system to mimic the energy pattern of clarity?
Exactly. McCord calls this coding the particular energy of a universal archetype directly into the physical body. It moves the concept from the intellectual, reading a book about it, to the visceral.
Your lungs become the hardware processing the software.
That's it. It sounds intense.
Like punching a cheat code into a controller, but the controller is your lungs. Up, up, down, down, left, right, but with air.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And because it requires so much focus, counting the lines, remembering the sequence, that double exhale, it completely occupies the analytical mind.
Which stops the monkey mind from chatting about your grocery list.
Right. It gives the machine part of your brain a complex task so that the deeper energy work can happen underneath without interference.
But he doesn't stop there. This is where this deep dive gets really wild. We have the software, the breath. Now we need a circuit board to run it on.
The star, specifically the 6-pointed star. We know it as the Star of David, or in Hindu geometry, the Shakona. It's a yantra, which is basically a machine for holding energy.
Why a star? Why not just breathe up and down the spine like in Kundalini yoga?
Because of what the star represents conceptually. A 6-pointed star isn't just one shape, it's 2 triangles interlocking, one pointing up, one pointing down.
And this is crucial for his whole philosophy.
The upward-facing triangle represents the force of evolution.
Which is the drive to grow, to ascend, to reach for the divine.
Correct. Matter trying to become spirit. And the downward-facing triangle represents the force of involution.
Spirit descending into matter, the grounding force.
Yes, the force that makes things real and tangible.
And McCord has this great phrase. He says balancing these two is what creates heaven on earth.
It's the meeting point. Think about it. If you are all evolution, you're just an ungrounded dreamer. If you are all involution, you're stuck in the mud of materialism.
You need the star to balance them. And since the star has 6 points, it maps perfectly to the 6 lines of a hexagram.
This is where the visualization gets really tricky, though. The source describes a spiraling in path. You don't just breathe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a circle.
You have to trace the star in a specific way. Can you walk us through that circuit?
It creates a flow, a spiral. He says you start at the base of the upward-facing triangle. That's your foundation. Then you go to the right side of that triangle, then the left side.
So you've traced the up triangle first. That's the first 3 lines.
Then you switch to the downward triangle. You hit the left side, then the right side, and finally the base. It's like weaving.
You're stitching these 2 forces together with your breath.
And then, just to ensure you're fully balanced, you reverse it. He calls it spiraling back down. You retrace the path.
I'm just imagining trying to do this. I'm breathing a binary code while visualizing a glowing star, while tracing a spiral path on that star. This is high-performance cognitive work.
It is. This is for the hacker. It's for someone who wants to rebuild their energetic infrastructure from the ground up.
So we have the code, the breath, and the circuit board, the star. Now we need the hardware, the actual body.
This is where the scope really expands. He's taking this binary code and the star geometry and applying it to human anatomy. But he's not using the standard 12 signs we all know.
The lost sign. I love this stuff.
It's the 13th sign. Astronomically, the sun actually passes through this constellation. McCord says it was left out probably by the Babylonians to make the math easier.
12 is a much cleaner number than 13.
Right. But in this system, Ophiuchus is essential. because Makor maps 13 zodiac signs to 13 specific parts of the human body.
Let's run down this list because it's fascinating to see where these archetypes live in us. It starts at the top.
Head to toe. Aries is the head. Makes sense. The ram.
Taurus, the neck.
Gemini, shoulders and arms. The twins, reaching out. Cancer is the chest. The shell.
And then the classic one, Leo, the heart.
The lion. Courage. Virgo is the stomach, digestion. Libra is the pelvic or sexual area, balance. Scorpio is the base of the spine, the root, transformation.
And here's where the map breaks from tradition. This is where our lost friend comes in.
Right. Ophiuchus. In this system, Ophiuchus maps to the thighs.
Why the thighs? Is there a symbolic reason for that?
Well, think about the thighs physically. They're the biggest muscles in the body. They're the power drivers. Ophiuchus is the serpent bearer, the one who wrestles with the snake.
So it's a place of strength, wrestling with our lower nature before we can move on.
It's the power needed to stand up. From there, Sagittarius moves down to the knees. The archer, flexibility.
Capricorn, the calves.
Aquarius, the ankles.
And Pisces, the feet, connecting us to the ground.
So we have a complete map of the human avatar, divided into 13 zones. But Makor doesn't just leave it there. He says inside every single one of those zones, there are layers.
The sheaths. This is maybe the most dense part of the philosophy, but it's crucial for the math that's coming.
He mentions 5 of them, borrowing from the Vedantic idea of the koshas. He says if you slice through any part of you, you find 5 dimensions of reality radiating outward.
Okay, let's define them quickly.
Sure. Imagine a cross-section of your thigh. At the very center is the core. Its motivation is pure essence.
Okay.
Wrapped around that is body flesh, the physical meat. Its motivation is personality. That's you.
Right.
Around that is body aura, the energy field. Motivation is soul personality. Then it gets bigger. Planet aura. Connects you to the collective field of Earth.
And the last one?
The infinite sheath, extending out into space. Its motivation is universal.
Wow. So every slice of your body, your knees, your heart, has these 5 dimensions extending from the center out to infinity.
Exactly. You aren't just a body. You are a multi-layered antenna receiving and transmitting on 5 different frequencies in 13 different locations.
And this is where the math just blew my mind. When you combine the 13 zodiac zones with the 5 sheaths, it unlocks the whole system. It's like solving a riddle.
It's the aha moment. It validates why he needs that 13th sign. Let's do the math.
Okay.
We have 13 body parts.
Yep.
We have 5 sheaths in each part. What is 13 times 5?
65.
65 distinct points of energy. Now, Makor says the core, that central channel running through everything, counts as the 65th point. It's the axis.
The one that holds it all together.
So if you take that one central axis away to look at the points surrounding it, you're left with 64.
64, the exact number of hexagrams in the I Ching.
It's a perfect overlay.
That is incredibly satisfying. It's like finding a secret architectural blueprint. If you only use 12 zodiac signs, the math just doesn't work. 12 times 5 is 60. You'd be missing 4 hexagrams.
You're running incomplete software. You need Ophiuchus to run the full program.
And Makor points out that this sequence mirrors the genetic code, right? That DNA is made of 64 codons.
Yes, this is a connection that the human design system also makes. That the I Ching isn't just philosophy, it's a diagram of our genetic programming.
It implies that the ancient Chinese mystics, the astronomers, and the biologists were all looking at the same code, just through different interfaces.
And Makor is giving us a way to access that code through the breath.
So let's zoom out. What he's proposing is a breathing practice where you use binary code, the breath, to activate a specific software, the hexagram.
Visualize it on a circuit board, the star.
And install it into a specific sector of the hard drive, which is the body part.
That is a brilliant synthesis. And the goal is alignment, aligning all the motivations from the personality of the flesh all the way out to the universal.
It's essentially saying, I want my knee and the archetype living in my knee to be in resonance with the entire universe.
Yes. And by using the breath, you aren't just thinking about it. You are using the physical mechanism of life respiration to force that alignment into being.
It really changes what meditation even is. We usually think of it as clearing the mind, emptying the trash bin.
Or just watching clouds go by. But this is data entry. It's active programming. It's not about silence. It's about structure.
It's a shift from witnessing to participating, from passenger to driver.
Or from user to coder.
It makes you wonder what else has been left out by the Babylonians. It feels like we've been running on a light version of the human operating system for a few thousand years.
That's a very provocative thought. And Makor seems to suggest that by engaging this full system, the 13 signs, the 5 sheaths, the binary breath. We unlock the pro version.
We started this talking about hacking the body, and that sounds forceful. But there's an elegance to this geometry, the star, the spiral. It feels architectural, like we're restoring the building to its original blueprint, not breaking in.
It does. It reminds us that we are part of a larger design. The phrase, as above, so below. The patterns of the stars are replicated in the body. The binary of the universe is replicated in the breath.
We are fractals of the whole, and this practice is just a way of polishing that fractal.
That's the heaven on earth aspect. When the upward and downward forces are balanced, the signal is clear.
So what does this all mean for someone listening? You might not go out and memorize all 64 hexagrams and their corresponding knee locations today.
No, probably not. That's a lifetime of study. But the takeaway is the power of intention in breath. Just playing with the idea that your in-breath is receiving yin and your out-breath is projecting yang changes everything.
It makes every breath a transaction of energy, a choice.
Exactly.
Sure.
And realizing that your body has these layers. You aren't just meat and bones. You're meat, bones, aura, planet connection, and infinity. That's a pretty cool way to walk down the street.
It expands the definition of self considerably. The Facebook group for this source is called The Holy Ghost in the Machine. Such a perfect name.
It really is. It captures that tension between the mechanical, the machine, the code, and the spirit that animates it.
It leaves me with a burning question, though. If our breath is binary code, and our body is the hardware, and the stars provided the operating system,
I think I know where you're going with this.
if we are running a script written by the stars, using a code as old as the I Ching, are we actually the programmers of our own evolution, or are we just the AI learning to run the simulation better?
That is the ultimate question, isn't it? Are we writing the code? Or is the code writing us?
Something to think about the next time you take a breath. Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you on the next one.